International Youth Day 2025 is a day that is far more than symbolic. It's a day of purpose, reflection, and most importantly, action. Every year on the 12th of August, the world pauses to celebrate the energy, creativity, and courage of young people. But this year is special. Why? Because it marks 10 years since the world committed to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. 10 years since world leaders promised to end poverty, fight inequality, and protect the planet, all under the framework of 17 global goals, known as the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. And the theme this year is powerful: local youth actions for the SDGs and beyond. At first glance, that may sound like a development buzz phrase, but let's unpack it, because behind those words is a powerful truth. Youth aren't just the leaders of tomorrow. They're leading right now, on the ground, in their communities, every single day. Let's start with that first word, local. Why local? Because that's where real change begins. It's in our neighborhoods, our schools, our villages and towns where challenges are most visible and where solutions often come fastest. According to the United Nations, over 65% of the SDG targets depend on local-level action. That's more than half of the global goals that can only be achieved if communities act, and if local governments, citizens, and especially youth are engaged. Youth understand their communities. They see what works, what doesn't, and what needs to change. They don't just study problems, they live them. Whether it's a young climate activist in Nairobi planting trees in urban spaces, or a student group in Barbados creating digital learning platforms during school shutdowns, these are the real frontline workers of development. The United Nations and the Commonwealth both recognize this. In fact, this year's official UN observance of International Youth Day is being held in Nairobi, Kenya, led by UN Habitat and UNDESA, two major global bodies working on sustainable cities and social development. The focus is clear: give the spotlight to grassroots, youth-led initiatives that are bringing the SDGs to life, block by block, idea by idea. And the Commonwealth is also walking the talk. Across its 56 member states, the whole month of August has been transformed into a celebration of youth leadership. From 4 to the 8th of August, the Commonwealth Youth Council is hosting a youth leadership consultative dialogue in Namibia, bringing together youth leaders to shape policies and strategies. On the 12th of August, the Commonwealth will launch a digital broadcast featuring inspiring young leaders and the launch of nominations for the 2026 Commonwealth Youth Awards. And on the 22nd of August, the London Youth Art Health Summit will explore how youth are innovating at the intersection of public health, creativity, and wellness, led by the Global Arts in Medicine Fellowship. These aren't token events. They're platforms that amplify what young people are already doing and help them scale up. Here are a few quick examples, not from headlines, but from the real world. In India, a group of rural youth trained through local government programs are mapping water sources using open-source GIS tools, helping prevent drought-related migration. In Fiji, after multiple cyclones displaced communities, youth volunteers led the rebuilding of eco-friendly homes using recycled materials. In Namibia, young people are tackling unemployment by creating mobile apps that connect local artisans to digital marketplaces. These stories, and countless others, show us something important. Youth don't wait for permission. They innovate. They lead. They care. And most of the time, they do it with minimal funding, limited visibility, and in some cases, outright resistance. Still, they persevere, because they see a future worth fighting for, beyond 2030. The second half of this year's theme says, and beyond. That's not just a poetic ending, it's a critical point. The SDGs are set to expire in 2030, that's just 5 years from now. But our challenges, climate change, inequality, health crises, and digital divides won't magically disappear when the calendar flips. So when we say beyond, we're asking, what comes next? Who will carry the torch? What kind of systems do we need, not just to finish the race to 2030, but to build sustainable, just societies after it? And again, the answer is youth, not as symbolic ambassadors, but as co-creators of the post-2030 development agenda, as decision-makers, not just participants. This year also marks the 30th anniversary of the World Programme of Action for Youth, a framework that has guided global youth development since 1995. That's 3 decades of progress, and now it's time to evolve it for the next era. We love to praise youth. We call them changemakers, disruptors, future leaders. But too often, that's where it stops. Words, without resources, without trust, without space. Youth need more than applause. They need access to funding to build and sustain their ideas, mentorship and training to sharpen their impact, seats at the table where decisions are made, and freedom to fail, because no innovation comes without risk. The Commonwealth's youth program, which has been active for over 50 years, is one example of institutional support that works, offering technical training, advocacy platforms, and policy development across Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and the Pacific. But we need more of that, and faster. If you're a young person listening to this, please note, you don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be a leader. You don't need a viral campaign or a fancy title. What matters is that you show up for your community, for your planet, for one another. That small community garden you're growing, that's SDG 2, Zero Hunger. That tutoring group you started during the pandemic, SDG 4, Quality Education. That campaign to reduce plastic in your neighborhood, SDG 13, Climate Action. Your actions matter, your vision matters, and the world needs it, now more than ever. On this International Youth Day 2025, let's move beyond hashtags and headlines. Let's fund youth-led innovation. Let's include young people in serious decision-making. Let's co-design the future, not just for youth, but with youth. Because if we want a just, sustainable, inclusive world, we cannot build it without young people leading from the front. Thank you so much for watching the video.